Alright. Alrighty, we'll give this a moment. Let me see here. Alright, good evening everybody. Welcome to the BNR Racing Network. Brought to you the BNR Xfinity Series here tonight as they head into Richmond. Alongside me tonight is Will. Hello, Will.
Hello, Brian. Good evening.
Yes, Richmond, the phenomenal short track of one of a kind here. From a road course to a short track, it's going to be very intense for these fellers. So we should see how this plays out, and we'll let you give the phenomenal background history of Richmond.
Yes, like you said before, road course 1 week. Next week is a short track like Richmond. Richmond International Raceway. Like we mentioned before in some earlier broadcasts, kind of second configuration of Richmond Raceway. The first configuration was known as the Richmond Fairgrounds. Just a little bit narrower and less banked of a track was the Richmond Fairgrounds, similar to what you might see North Wilkesboro, but without the slight uphill, downhill on the back straightaway and front stretch. But been around pretty much since the inception of NASCAR. Richmond has, ever since basically started coming here, I want to say 49 or 50, I believe. It's been on the schedule just as long as Martinsville, just about. So I want to say second longest active racetrack on a NASCAR schedule. And Richard Petty, I do believe, has the most wins here among anyone. He has, I think, as many wins here as he had at North Wilkesboro. So pretty good track. It can have some exciting racing, but it can be one of those breed cautions moments, just depending on all the conditions. 250 laps in store for this evening, so and sure to be a treat for sure.
Oh yeah, so well, this thing is just doing all types of stuff here. But anyway, last week's winner, I do believe, was Jaden. That was Jaden.
Yes.
It was Jaden. So, could he get it done today? He is on top of the board. We got a couple of fast fellers in here, and let's go ahead and go over the race day information here. So, as you see here, we are at Richmond. It's a 0.72 mile track. Current track temp is 109 degrees, 85%. Is the weather outside, 91% humidity, partly cloudy, 13 mile per hour wind. They get 75% fuel, 4 sets of tires, 1 quick fix, 3 attempts at a GWC, and as we said before, last week's winner was Jaden. So, we'll see who can beat Jaden, and we'll leave it as that. But I do believe that nobody else is going out to the pits. So, they did, a lot of the guys had agreed to, well, the admin part of the side of things had agreed to put Coney out there tonight. See how well this works. So that would implement their choose rule. So we'll see how well that goes. So I'll go over your starting grid. So starting P1 will be Jaden. P2 would be Dave Barry. P3 would be Jackson Lomax. P4 would be Chris Berger. P5 would be Matt Multiple. P6 would be Tyler Myers. P7 would be Jason Pearson. P8 will be Joe Stite. P9 will be Chris Campbell. P10 will be Randy Koken. P11 will be Philip Bridgman. P12 will be JD. P13 will be Gilmore. P14 will be Carter. P15 will be Josh. P16 will be Larry McKenzie. P17 will be Kevin Roy. P18 will be Jim. P19 will be Mark. P20 will be Aaron. P21 will be Robert Amaro. So 21 drivers here.
Yes, Brian, 21 drivers this evening. Half the field qualified, the other half chose not to. Like we mentioned before, last week was a road course, this week short track. Similar characteristics as far as possibly just having to work the pedals constantly just about all evening long. That's pretty much what you're doing for the most part at a road course, and at a short track very similar as far as trying to lift, maybe coast, let it roll for a good portion of the corner, and then pick it back up on the corner exit, and possibly good trail braking into the corner, depending on how much these drivers are braking. And so that's a lot of working the pedals. So,
Oh yeah.
accustomed to that both weeks back to back.
So a couple of these boys wanted a choose roll effect type deal, so we had a special race control paint up a vehicle called Coney. So we'll be getting a lot of bumper shots from Coney when it comes to that time. So when they choose either one inside or outside, so this is going to bring a little interesting thing. So they wanted to try at least one race, so we told them why not Richmond. So which would be Kyle Gooden. He'll be maneuvering around the it's a Legends car, by the way, and they named the Coney. So we'll see how well this works for them, and all that other great stuff.
So you guys are still keeping the one fast repair in the Xfinity Series?
More than likely, yes. They want
Because
to
I
see
saw
how well they were originally going to go to 0.
Yes.
But
So there was some
cars,
backtracking with that, huh?
a lot of thinking, especially with these cars. It's new tire model.
I mean, that's understandable.
Why going to turn 1, especially at Richmond, and then now, boom, there's half your field gone. Now you got 8 cars left.
Like I said, it's understandable. And in the lower tier series of a league, or in the Xfinity or Truck, it's nice to have at least one quick fix. I can understand in the Cup Series, and we are green. For some reason, I thought we were doing another pace lap. My apologies, Brian.
Nope.
So, Barry trying to stick it tough on the outside through 1 and 2. I believe J.D. O'Brien might have found the wall there, exiting 2 on the opening lap, but everybody for the most part getting through unscathed. No spin outs or nothing on the first lap, so first lap in the bag. Lomax trying to get some rubber down on the high side as well. You're going to see some drivers really trying to migrate up there, or just lay some rubber down on the high side, hoping to get something going later on perhaps in the race. But just opening laps here, Richmond Xfinity BNR Series here. Said that backwards, but it's okay, we'll progress. Oh, sideways, I believe that might be O'Brien.
I do believe so. That was JD.
No caution, he must have hit the wall straight enough to knock it back going straight, and might have been below the paint there, so caution are still green flag at the moment in time.
Oh, yeah. So far, so
What
good.
is that? The top 7 or 8 cars still all within what would look like to be just a straightaway from one another there. So.
Oh yeah, Jaden Sanchez, Barry, Lomax, Montalbot, Berger, Pearsons, Myers, Campbell, Bridgman, Randy is your top 10. Then you got Carter, McKenzie, Stipe, Comensberger, Barry, and it changed on me. Oh, Barry, Smalls, Bradford. But now it's Amaro, Roy, Bradford, then Gilmore, then JD. So.
Yes, but that front pack right there, about first down to 6th, I believe, from Sanchez to Pearson, all within just over a second of one another here, early going, as everybody gets temperature up in their tires here. See how long this first stint or this first run will be. I had drivers telling me about 85 to 90 laps on a tank of gas, so maybe start, if we do get that long green flag run, maybe expect to see cars pitting maybe 75, maybe lap 80, maybe come in about 5 to 10 laps before the fuel would fully run out. Maybe try to get a set of fresh tires on early and maybe run back down some lost speed, perhaps, on a set of fresh tires. But just all different type of strategy could unfold later on.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Top 6, though, still all here within reason. Then a comfortable gap, I would say, back to Tyler Myers, who sitting very, very comfortable in 7th place. So he's got some really hard chargers behind him, though. Campbell, Carter, Koking, Bridgman.
Oh yeah. Ever so slightly, they'll start getting that little bump there. All right, Tyler, you gotta move. I'm here. But like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. It will get extra slick the longer these boys run. Right now, the tires are just getting up to temp. So.
Yes, as the tires are still cold, getting up to temperature, the cars will, good possibility of being a little bit ill handling, for just a couple of laps, one would expect or just, see here. But hopefully as the run goes on, might, like you say, get a little bit slicker, but also may tighten the car up a little bit on the old tire as well. You might see some of the drivers possibly just backing up the corner entry just a tad bit later on in the run.
Oh yeah. Because and I know, the longer you stay out on a set of tires, now remember, they only get 4 sets of tires. So now you gotta, alright, when do I want to come down to pit? When do I want to take my tires? When should I take them? Alright, what's the leader gonna do? Is the leader gonna come in earlier? Or am I gonna have to beat the leader in strategy? Stuff like that. So 16 of 250 completes an actual full race. These guys selected which ones they want to do full races in, and Richmond was one of them. So here we sit with a full race of Richmond. So,
well, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much for the most part, just about, there's a good portion of the Xfinity races in the schedule that are full-length Xfinity races, just like the Truck Series, for the most part as well, are full-length Truck Series races. So, like we've talked about previously, it does show endurance to a certain degree, racing the actual length of these races that are ran in person or in real life, to, in a way, mimic that. Shows, who can be consistent over a long period of time. So just who outright has the best speed, best pace.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to come down to, because and I know we have a lot of hard chargers who will burn their stuff up very early, and those will be the ones that will go through their sets of tires a lot quicker than others. So, but as long as they keep it green, we should have no problem. So, to tick the laps down, get it going faster, and yeah. So.
Yes, even no matter the type of racing, whether it's on a simulation or on a simulator or a real life counterpart, cautions are what reduce the pace of the race, the speed of the race, and it'll slow it down, bringing it almost to a screeching halt. But unfortunately, that's why there is a certain speed of which each track or each racing series holds their cautions under. So some drivers here just struggling with Richmond. Richmond, very tough track, especially coming up out of the corners, basically halfway through, when most drivers can find the most trouble out of the car. Normally will be corner exits, really all about hitting the center of the corner just right to where you're able to slide up out of the corner. As you pretty much see the racing line, how it is around Richmond.
Yeah, from the bottom to the top.
Sometimes you can come just a few inches away from smacking the turn 2 wall here, or you will hit it. It's very simple, very easy to do. We've seen just a bunch of drivers do that this evening already, early into this race, not even a quarter of the way in. So you got to be careful how many more times you can bounce off of these walls before it starts to become more of a nuisance towards your car. Yes, that too. The more damage. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I would say, as you're starting to see now, Will, they are starting to lift a lot earlier going into the turns, and it's only 26 laps in. So, and they're letting it roll a lot more than as they were 10 laps ago, as we would say.
Oh yes, for sure.
So
you can imagine just 10, maybe 15 laps into a run, already your tires would be shot already, especially if you're just trying to put, say, down qualifying lap after qualifying lap, or just as quick as you can go. So you're going to burn your good stuff up very, very quickly on a fresh set of tires, or just a couple of laps you qualified on, if that tire truly does carry over. So got to be careful. Tire management, very key. Like you were saying earlier, some are better at it than others. That's truly really all what the pace lies down to, is just tire management, taking care of the tires, trying not to have that wheel spin, any type of slip. As you see, the 22 of Jacob Carter basically working his way methodically through the field there. inching up just a few positions from which he started. I believe he did Jacob qualify? I can't remember if he was one of the qualifiers or not. I didn't think he qualified, so some drivers just, prefer the challenge of starting in the back, working their way up through a field of cars. More power to them, you suppose, instead of, using up that one set of tire you get at the start of the race or for qualifying that leads into the race, instead of burning up any type of good on them, just start in the back.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do come here on Saturday. So, and it's a lot different car than these cars are. A lot more, I don't know, what would you say, a little bit more, about a couple of 1,000 pounds more heavier than these Xfinity cars.
Hey, Will and Brian, it's Chris, you got me?
Hey, Chris! Good evening, sir.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
We're doing alright. So far, so good with these guys. I ain't even going to say the word. We're just going to let them keep going.
It's caution free at the moment. I'll say it. I'm not scared.
Yes, caution free at the moment. So, as you see,
what lap are you on, Brian?
34. 34.
All right, just about 35 laps into this race. Yeah, we're a few laps behind on the broadcast, but that's okay.
Right.
Just double checking.
Oh,
Lomax just keeps either flirting with the wall or just getting there to kiss it. He doesn't want to make up his mind if he wants to court that wall or not. But some drivers, like we noted, just either they get really close enough to it or they will smack it. These Xfinity car bodies, they've been worked and reworked and worked again. The damage model on these Xfinity cars, they can roughly take a few poundings to that right side, but like we mentioned, you don't want to do that too much, and it would start probably handling awful ill.
Oh, yeah. I did a few laps earlier. I ran out of talent. I ran out of talent, that's for sure. I haven't been behind those cars in a while ever since I got my A-Class license on here. So, a lot different. They do put a lot of offset in these cars. Like, a lot. So, it feels very funny to take the offset out and go from a steering ratio to a rack pinion. That's for sure. I've been so used to the pinion and not the steering ratios. So, but a lot different for sure. We did a little practice yesterday with a few things, and a lot different. That's for sure. I have to practice a little bit more on these cars and quit running the next gen. That's for sure.
We've got a battle for fourth place right now. With Myers and Montenbault. Sorry about that. Myers just got by him.
Is that how you pronounce that last name?
I was taking a swing.
Oh, okay. Hey, I've been trying to wrap my head around that last name ever since I've seen it for weeks now. So that's way better than I could ever do. I just normally say, "Hey, look at that 20 guy."
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Philip says it the same way, and Math is Canadian, so I've asked Phil how to say it, and he says it the same way.
Montalban?
Yep.
Is that how you said that, Chris?
Montalban? I don't know. The L should be silent if it's Canadian or French, whatever, but I don't know.
Oh, the L. Montalban. But, anyway.
Montalban?
I'm French Canadian,
we'll get back to that.
Yes.
Sanchez finally pulled out to a nice, comfortable lead, I would say, for Richmond. A nice, second, almost two, maybe 2 1/4 second lead, just about, probably by the time, it finally happens for real. It'll be that length. Like I said before, I keep looking up at the scoring pylon on the stream, looking at that, just kind of guesstimating where it might be in a couple of laps, really. So, and I basically guessed right from which I first said it. So
we got contact in turn 2 with a lap car, John O'Brien. A lot of people trying to get by him. He's trying to stay out of the way. Makes contact with, I think that's the number 5.
Oh, Randy.
Oh, Randy.
Oh, JD.
Yeah, JD been having some problems. He had a couple of problems in practice, and just unfortunately, the start of the race not going his way, and now we're about 45 laps into this race, if not 45, and just things still not going JD's way, unfortunately. He's only 2 laps down now at the moment. Aaron Bradford, the first car, 1 lap down. If he could just get a couple of cautions here back to back, he'd be in a good position perhaps. But Jeff Gilmore, I did not, once you read out, the starting grid, Brian, I thought maybe Gilmore might be, moving up through the field, because I've seen him race at Richmond before, but unfortunately he's just kind of stuck back there in the back. Not sure why. Really liking the Rusty Wallace throwback paint scheme he's rocking there. He normally always rocks the Miller paint schemes of some sort. We see he's got some right side damage to the car, Brian, so maybe too many clobbering hits to the wall, perhaps, as he is getting lapped by Jaden.
Well, I don't think you're going to find a whole heck of a lot of cars that don't have a crunched-in right side. I'm not having a lot of luck finding them.
Yeah, that terrible turn 2 has claimed a lot of right side cars, or yes, a lot of right side work. I'll get the right phrase or thing out here in a minute. But yes, it's kind of similar to like Darlington, just how the racing line can be here. You can have a little bit of trouble off of turn 4, but for the most part, it might be turn 2 where it gets you the most, just because of the wheel input and everything. Going down the front straightaway, you have a little bit more wheel input to give, and then coming off of turn 2, you're coming onto an actual straightaway, so you got to straighten that wheel out, and by the time you've already had it cranked to the left, you straighten it back out to go straight. There's a wall there, so that part of the track does kind of nail up kind of quickly.
See Mark Berry making a pass on Jackson Lomax for 7th position.
Yes, Lomax just kind of had a good qualifying run. I believe he qualified 4th. And
Jason Pearson challenging him.
Just unfortunately, just dropping down the totem pole here, Chris. Just short tracks may not be Lomax's strong suit, I guess you could say, at least not with a long run capable vehicle. At least not at the moment. Never know. A caution could always come out and change everything. Everybody basically, I could imagine, come in for tires.
This is a tough road to get onto, Will.
So yes.
It's possible that we could, upon green flag pit stops, have a caution happen. So
I just see a lot of drivers make those mistakes, trying to get onto that tricky pit road like you alluded to.
Oh yeah, because you're going from what, like 131.
Yeah.
Into the turn, and then you got to slow down to 55. So
the average cornering speed here at Richmond in these Xfinity cars, I would have to say between 115, 120, 110, 120, somewhere in that range. And so basically, you're entering the corner maybe at $1.50, $1.40. So, and you really got to start pumping your brakes, getting prepared on your end lap, almost as you are coming out of turn 2. Like you don't even really get going down the back straightaway good enough to. As we just see Lomax losing more positions here, falling under prey to more drivers. The handling really went south on that car. Very unfortunate for Lomax.
Oh, we got a bit of contact between the 11 and the 5 coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, Jim Coleman'sberger. Jim Coleman'sberger was there, and not sure if Randy may not be as quick as Jim at this moment in time. Randy trying to really defend this position, it seems like. Now Jim going to look around the outside. And Jim's definitely got the speed to get there and pass him on the outside. Just a tough way to go about it. Look at that pass by Jim Coleman'sberger, getting up and dirty on that outside lane. But he has a reason, because the leader is in the same frame shot as this little battle group back here for, what is this, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. All, that's Kevin Roy in the 13th and final position on the lead lap. So they really trying to get up and go, trying to maintain the best. Oh, contact between Lomax and Roy. Lomax trying to get out of the wall by innocent bystander Kevin Roy, just trying to get around the 96 machine there.
Oh, yeah. That contact might hurt a little bit of that right side of that 12, as Sanchez looks to put Lomax one lap down. Kevin fighting to stay on the lead lap, securing that P12. So 12 drivers on the lead lap. Kevin Roy in danger of falling one lap down to be the first car a lap down, but we know Kevin is very consistent, so we never have to worry about that. But as you see here, as he looks to make the move around Randy, as he would secure that in there, so Randy's going to fall to be the first car one lap down, as Jaden still setting the pace. Got almost a 4-second lead over Dave Barry. Jaden has always been very good here in the past. He likes the Xfinity cars a lot better than the Cup cars. He's still finessing a little bit with the Cup cars, but his strong suit is the trucks and Xfinity cars. So fits his driving style a little bit more better.
Well, Tyler Myers up in 4th position. Jacob Carter literally clawed and dragged all the way up into 3rd. So if a caution happens, he's probably the best one looking, hoping for some type of caution to happen, not be a part of it, because Jacob has finally got himself in a good position to strike, perhaps, maybe. I don't know, at least on this stint of tire or this run of this particular part of the race, if he would have the speed to chase down Jaden on that set of tire he is on currently, because we are about to be somewhere within the ballpark of the fuel window, pit window being opened, so getting close within range here. So wonder, if we're going to get to see the drivers attempting to make these green flag pit stops if something does not occur in this time. So that'll be challenging.
Campbell. A slip up from Campbell there, but he saved it. They made no contact with Josh, so they keep moving and securing that spot. That was for position between Josh and Campbell.
Look, we got a pit taker.
Yes, Jackson Lomax will be the first one down.
I think he's had enough of falling backwards. Feels he's close enough, he can throw some tires on this thing.
Oh yeah, but they only got 4 sets, so it's... You choose how you want to take it. But... You see here, Will, Phillip in danger of going a lap down. So...
Yeah, Phillip finally got into the top 10. And now, like you said, basically going a lap down to the race leader, Jaden Sanchez. Are trying not to, but just don't see Phillip going to be able to fend him off. Phillip, well, but he's trying.
Yes, he is. Hey, he's got all the right to. He's protecting his
Lomax. No, that's not Lomax. That is the teammate. That's Berger. Yep. So this is also a battle for position happening in front of Jaden. Jaden's got to be... Sorry, had to get it off my screen. Jaden's got to be very careful not to, run over this battle in front of him that is for position. Kind of let them play it out, but also they have to be mindful. This is the race leader. Don't want to hold them up too much, but they're still within reason to battle and duke it out amongst themselves.
71 laps in, Will. I think they're doing a hell of a job, to be honest with you, especially for a short track. Now, I can't say when we go to Martinsville, I may be able to determine that mess, so JD falling 4 laps down. Lomax fell down to 2 laps down, so you see Randy.
It pretty much all depends where you are in the Delta about the time it takes to go down pit lane and the time differential that you have compared from the race leader, how far you are away from the race leader when you do eventually make your pit stop. Just as if, for instance, we were at Pocono, and at Pocono, as long as you have a reasonable gap to the leader, you can pit and come out on the same lap still as the race leader. But here at Richmond, there's a safe bet. Depending on the gap back to the leader, you will lose definitely 2 laps, like Lomax did whenever he made his seemingly scheduled pit stop for him. So
as we encountered a pass for second place, Jacob Carter has gotten by Dave Barry.
Kind of only a matter of time, one would have thought, because Carter definitely had the speed. I thought for sure to run down Barry. Barry for sure did all he could in the early goings to maintain and try to keep pace with Jaden, but unfortunately just kind of fell off, plateaued eventually, but still stayed within a decent reason. He could probably still see him for a good amount of the time, just kept slowly inching away, but Carter caught him and got by him, like you said. Just kind of depends now. If I'm Barry, do I pit now after Carter got up to me and passed me, or do I kind of wait a little bit longer, because it kind of seems like those two might be, if this race was to go green the entire 250, you almost think that those two drivers are in a battle amongst themselves, perhaps, or maybe Carter could actually run down Sanchez, perhaps. I could have been totally wrong. He could still have the pace to run down Jaden. As Jaden's still navigating through the traffic, working on Pearson now. Got by Pearson. Looks like Gilmore is a second lap down, I think.
Yes.
So, man, like I said, not familiar to seeing Jeff struggle so much.
You're starting to see a lot of green flag pit stops starting to happen, Will. You got Jim Coleman'sberger, Kevin Roy, Joe Stipe, JD. So a lot of these boys are starting to come in and pit, as you see Dave Barry down in the pits. The other Barry comes in. So you're starting to see a lot of these pit stops starting to happen between, as you said, between 78 to 80, what was it? 82, you said, 83?
Yeah, about 85.
Yeah.
So I figured, around maybe 75 to 85 is when people might start to pit sooner, and then the last of the pit takers would probably be 88 to 90.
Oh yeah.
But everything just unfolding here ever so smoothly for the most part. Some drivers just having a crippling day out there, it seems, for them. Just a struggling track it can be. Richmond just can play out like that, unfortunately.
Yep, Jaden.
It's a tough track for sure.
Carter. So leaders starting to come in. So that'll put Tyler Myers should cycle out. Yes, the leader.
Now it seems like Tyler going to go the distance as far as for fuel, it seems, perhaps, maybe, and get to lead a few laps here. If I'm not mistaken, leading a lap gives you points for BNR Racing Series, so
yes,
that's always good. Anytime you can lead a lap in any circumstance, whether it, staying out to lead a lap under caution or fuel strategy, perhaps, just during green flag cycle of pit stops.
Oh yeah.
As we are having a cycle of green flag pit stops here this evening here at Richmond Raceway, BNR Xfinity Series, whole 250 lap event.
But Will, they are slowly ticking those laps away, almost 100 laps in, which is always a good thing. So, and of course we forgot to do our picks. We did, really, but because normally we do that at the start of every race. But that's all right. It's just a lot going on at that time. But you see here, Jacob Carter going to cycle back up to P3 behind Dave Barry. Jaden Sanchez is going to come back out as your leader. So roughly about the same gap as it was a few laps ago before they pitted. So So 9 cars, Will and Chris on the lead lap, as they're 3 wide back there with Gilmore, Randy, and I think that was Phil, yeah. So I would say this is going a lot better. Yeah, this is going a lot better than how the officials went. That's for sure. That's a lot better.
Also seems, Brian, a slight ground has been made up on the race leader of Sanchez, Barry, and Carter. Whether it could have been through just entering the pits, exiting pits, also just Jaden still navigating traffic. Basically, at a short track, once you hit the slower traffic or the slower part of the field, you will tend to kind of just be stuck in it the rest of the race or the rest of that green flag stint of the race. And it almost can seem like a never-ending conveyor belt of cars that you're trying to pass because of how spread out they can be. But at the moment, good battle on track between Carter and Barry. Carter got back by Barry, so don't know how well of a battle that still is. Carter could be looking to drive away and run down Jaden at the moment. That's probably for sure what he is trying to do. But he's probably still as well going to have to navigate the same traffic as Jaden. So that might hinder that pace that Carter was setting to try to run Jaden down just a tad bit, but may also help a little bit as well, because for the most part, slow traffic can be predictable, but at the same time, you just never know. That's one good thing about racing. You just can never know what's going to happen in the blink of an eye.
Oh yeah. Because sometimes you have good races, sometimes you have bad. And we know the past couple of weeks here in the Xfinity Series have been a little rough, for sure. So Chris.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you see anything exciting so far that is going on? Like with the racing
I've been keeping my eyes out, watching all around the track. These guys are doing a pretty good job of keeping it all collected together. Lomax had a moment a handful of laps ago. He just got his wheels down on the apron, got a little loose, but collected it up with no issue. But seems, these guys are pretty well keeping it going. We get the 6 and the 11 side by side. That's Myers and Coleman-Sperger. They've been battling back and forth for a bit. I'm down to the 3 right now.
Like, I don't know who I would want to see have a dominant performance here. Well, we already know who's doing quite well, but like I said, now Jaden Sanchez, Will, and Chris is coming up on Tyler and Jim, who are fighting for the lap. So he's gonna have to be a little bit more, how should we say it, a little bit more easier to finesse through the traffic, because those two are battling for position. So
yes, that is 6th and 7th currently on track. You would expect Tyler to drive away a little bit, because he was one of the later cars to pit. He should have the freshest rubber, and indeed he is driving away from Jim ever so slightly. Jim falling into the clutches of the 8 machine of Sanchez, who is setting that tremendous pace this evening here at Richmond. So
oh yeah, JD just pacing around.
But do have to say though, Brian, Jacob Carter is most definitely eating into that lead of Sanchez, even after he got a fresh set of tires, able to work his way back around Barry and work his way up towards Jaden. So he's been taking a couple of tenths out every few laps, and that's exactly what he needs to keep doing if he wants to chase down that 8 car, or catch the 8 car, you would say.
So my
Good
question...
battle. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
My question is going to be this. How many cars will Sanchez put a lap down before something finally gives, whether it's caution or anything else, causing a wave around or a lucky dog? What do you guys think about that?
He could get to probably the top 4, depending on how much Barry and Montabook. I'm going to keep butchering that if I keep trying. So, Matt in the 20. Yeah, well, we could go with Monty. I like that too.
Monty.
Yeah, that's could be a good little nickname there. Just how hard, Barry and Monty, they just kind of battle amongst themselves for that 4th and 5th position. That's going to draw Tyler Myers a bit closer to them. Tyler was running 4th position when that green flag cycle started to occur, so I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Tyler can keep his nose clean this race, The rest of it, from here on out, he could walk away with the top 5 perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
He just keeps having this good run going.
Hey, I'm impressed. You guys are doing wonderful. "19 cars still out there. 2 of them had engine failures. Last one was Coney, but Coney's been hanging out. Little blinking issues, he said, so we'll just say that malfunction happened to Coney. So we had that thing all dolled up for tonight and choose roll, but that's all right. Stuff happens, so they will line up regularly according to iRacing. So.
Well, there also are other ways to look into having a choose roll, Brian. You could perhaps, either before or after the start-finish line, you could say, all right there, the start-finish line, you can choose right there at the stripe, and if you stay in the left or right lane, that is the lane of which you have chosen to restart the race in. So if you need to clear any black flags, you could do so after the restart, I suppose, or however you need to do that type of situation. And just, throwing some ideas or maybe options out there instead of using little orange fledgling car, little cute thing out there compared to these Xfinity cars. But I also like the idea, in a way, of having, I guess you could say, a controlled environment. Try to have a better controlled environment about the situation as well.
Oh yeah.
So
there's a lot of practice
Monty
with it.
Berry.
Everybody did pretty good with it. So
maybe.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna finish up with that. Maybe work on it a bit more in the coming weeks, perhaps. I was just pointing out the battle we were seeing on screen with 4th through 6th there. Jaden slowly creeping into the picture here. He's exiting turn 2 as they're halfway down the back straightaway, so basically a corner separation from that little battle group.
Oh yeah.
So Jacob Carter really reeling in Sanchez here. Not sure Jaden might have just backed off the pace to conserve a little bit, perhaps. He did have a good about 4.5 second lead when he came out of the pits. So don't know, maybe conserve option might have kicked in, or he saw this vicious pack in front of him and just thought, well, I'll let them sort it out for a few laps. I'll let them keep doing what they're doing, and I'll just run, mind my own business for a little bit. Don't want to, get up there and get involved in something perhaps, and just play the waiting game. Let them kind of get back to maybe, spread out amongst themselves, and then start passing these cars, or like I said, maybe just riding at the moment. This is kind of a long race if you think about it in comparison. So
oh yeah.
Myers finally made a move to get by Barry in the 9, so back into 5th place. Barry really fighting back though, but not able to do anything about it. Good run for Montague in the 20 since he has been here. Good run.
Oh yeah.
He might be 21 seconds off the pace, but hey, he's in 4th place while he's doing it, so he's ahead of a handful of other, competitors. Also, Mark Berry in that 9 car, man, he's having a pretty decent run. It seems like every...
There's Jaden.
Go ahead.
Fix him to put them a lap down.
Yeah, he's there within distance, you would say.
Oh,
still lurking behind them. Oh, JD having another moment trying to keep it in the wall.
Does a great job of doing it. But that calls
Thank God
to capitalize. Yeah.
I'm not a race director. I would have probably might have thrown a caution because my mind, hey, that looks very suspicious. There you go. Net code. That's got to be net code. Maybe. Just by the way it looked from that part of the camera angle, and JD finally going to get to use that quick fix. Oh, man. Man, I'm going to just stop saying Mark Berry having a good run. Because every time I say that, like just a few moments later, something terrible happens to poor Mark. So,
as we see here,
my guess was just a bit wrong.
Contact
so they lapped
Sanchez.
Okay, so there was contact. The initial, when you see it live, it didn't. Oh yes, Jaden walked it up just ever so slightly on corner entry. Just walked it up the track and just doored Mark Berry. Not surely no intentional intent there by Jaden. Just trying to navigate the best he could, but unfortunately, getting up beside him there, car just stepped out.
Speaking
right
of
beside
Coney,
the 9.
Coney made it back.
Alright, fellas, this is definitely going to shake things up for sure. Now, finally closing up that, what was that, 20-something seconds, 25 seconds between 3rd and 4th.
Yes.
See what's going to happen. 120 laps into this thing, finally getting a reset almost.
And there goes Coney. So, as Coney will come around.
Who's Coney?
Kyle Good.
It is the little Mitch, the little.
Oh, I gotcha.
Midget car. Yes.
Which will be their choose cone. As he continues.
There's a new pace car.
Nope, that's their old choose cone, and they all did very well. I know. It works out pretty good. It's actually pretty cool. It's really unique.
So this will probably put us, unless some drivers stayed out to get a wave around, but old tires, that might be pretty costly. Don't know if that would be a thing or not.
So, as we watch on board here.
Looks like we might have some wave around takers.
Oh yeah. There's all your wave arounds coming by. Now as we watch on board here, as the pit what happened?
No, didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say, the powers that be and all that other good jazz. Hopefully no one hits Kyle Gooden here. As we know he is here, but you can go into dreamland perhaps under the caution and kind of forget.
There you go. So 4 go to the outside, 1 goes to the bottom. Carter goes to the bottom. Barry outside. Tyler bottom. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
That was close.
Yep, exactly what I was kind of talking about, hoping not to happen. Just about happened.
And there you go. Now,
But it's all in practice, all in due time. We can hopefully get this worked out and processed. Everybody get used to it. Jaden must have had a bad pit stop because he lost positions.
that was a little janky. Restart. A lot of them are nervous, so it'll take time to adapt and stuff like that. So there you go. All their flags are cleared. It'll take time to get adapted to, so well, we got 125 laps left. That was the first caution of the night. Oh, as Dave hits the wall there.
Jacob Carter now in the lead of this race, and one would expect Jacob to eventually, once this set of tires comes to life, he gets the right temp into the tire. One would expect him to slowly, marginally pull away, but maybe perhaps Barry might be able to put up a fight this time around. Tyler Myers sitting pretty in third position.
But like I said, I do believe these boys can do it.
Trying to see how many. Okay, so yeah, 7 cars in total on the lead lap, it looks like, so. What lap are we on currently?
29.
10-4. Can you set like the delay that you have like on a stream? Just curious. So.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh no, you're good.
Wondering if Sanchez may be in a bit of trouble. He's not moving up quite as fast as he was before with that huge lead that he had. I was expecting him to be up there a lot quicker. Currently still in 5th place, trying to make work of Kolmensberger.
Yeah, just in that dirty air perhaps. I know it may not seem like a lot at Richmond. Just being in that, just being back there in traffic, can be a tough task to overcome at a short track, Chris. Racing at a short track, once you have that clean air, you're the leader out in front, you can kind of set the pace, but it seems like maybe Jaden just had a long pit stop. Not too sure why he lost the ground he did under that caution wave of pit stops we had, but yeah, he for sure dropped back a few spots.
Oh, and he goes around right here, contact. see.
Looks like he could have been battling here with Jim Coleman'sberger.
Yeah, that's what it is. Coleman'sberger and the 20.
Oh man, the same incident that happened whenever he was trying to lap. Who was it he was trying to lap? Barry in the 9. Where he just kind of doesn't really get the car to turn down more towards the yellow paint, towards the bottom lane, and just kind of invades Jim's bubble there, one might want to say, and trying to make that 8 into an 18, I guess. Trying to slap a 1 on the side of his car and slap the 8 on the side of Jim. Just kind of walking the dog up the track there in turn 1 on that corner entry. I guess you could say Sanchez just unfortunately can't seem to get it under control while underneath another competitor for the most part. I guess, Chris, I don't know what else we could kind of say really about that, because that's almost 2 copycat incidences that we've seen. Just Jaden just have a mistake.
And Sanchez is out.
Oh man,
I'm not sure if he's disqualified or if he quit, because he has a DQ flag next to his name.
No, so if he calls 2 cautions, you're out. Like they'll tell you to park it.
Oh wow.
Say it again, Brian.
So now if he calls 2 cautions, this is how it's supposed to be before we have race control.
Gotcha.
Technically, you're supposed to park it. So.
Unbelievable turn of events tonight for Sanchez. Led, what was that, like 120 laps? And now, not even 20 laps past that, he's disqualified and gone.
I would say, yeah, somewhere in that ballpark for sure, it seems like.
Nobody would have caught this one, that's for sure.
At least 100 and, I would say almost 110 somewhere, because that green flag cycle, Tyler led a few laps there. Maybe 115, somewhere in that ballpark, Chris. Yeah, I would have to say. So I do agree with you. Just kind of flip the race upside down for the most part. Looks like Mark Berry gonna be the car that gets the Lucky Dog recipient award. So lap back for Barry, it looks like perhaps when time of caution came out, I think. Wonder who might still stay out if these drivers choose to pit. If they did, might be slacking a little bit behind. Guess they already decided not to, or maybe some did, as we're already choosing here. My apologies. Brian, does that rule carry over into the Cup Series?
The 2-car wreck?
Is that rule across all of the racing series in the BNR as we go back to green flag racing?
Roger spun those wheels big time, but it didn't seem to affect him.
Yeah, that restart zone's very tricky. Like we mentioned, this front straightaway not really straight, so you're restarting basically as you come out of turn 4 there, and that restart zone will allow for a lot of wheel slippage. Goodness. So these restarts kind of getting a little bit wild here for the most part, but still calm and collected as well. Oh, look at that. Paul Tracy spun out. Who would have thought? Oh, never mind. He got spun out. Oh, well, that's what you got. Paul Tracy. I don't know. I never was a fan of Paul. My apologies, Chris. Anywho,
Cracking me up back here.
Well, you see Philip Richmond there, Will and Chris.
You still only get
Hanging
7
out.
cars on the lead lap.
still only 7 on the lead lap, so nobody got the lead around. Very confused now.
Possibly the candidate for that was involved in the caution.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point.
Kevin Roy making a bit of contact with the wall. Everybody really liking that turn 2 wall. Coming out of turn 2, I
Yeah, like we said earlier, that's just kind of the racing line, just how it kind of throws you up out of the corner onto the back straightaway. And yes, indeed, everybody just loves to nip it or get ultra close to it.
Philip Richmond hanging strong in P5. Well, great run by Philip, great run by Myers, great run by Barry, and now Carter's in the lead, so.
Yeah, like I kind of alluded to earlier, you just kind of think that Carter could possibly drive away with this one if given the right chances. Also, just making those less mistakes, minimal mistakes as possible, are none to a fault, and keeping Barry at bay, as well as looks like the 20 of Monty. They're really challenging for second place here. Barry slapping the wall, Myers slapping the wall, so a lot of tank slapping action out of turn 2, to say the least.
Surprisingly calm race that we've had here at Richmond as we are coming up to lap 150 of 250. Richmond usually a pretty eventful track, Will.
Yeah, I would say as well, for the most part, Chris, I would have to agree with you. Richmond, once you do, I would say if you get a good size field, you know, a lot of good competitors out here, you would expect just a bit more contact, a bit more, just maybe somebody spinning out, just maybe some contact involved with that, or something of that sorts. But I agree with you. Very calm, tamed race for the most part.
And even after we have the cautions and the restarts, it still has just single filed back out into a calm race again.
Like I said at the top of the show, Richmond can sometimes provide some really good racing, and other times it can be a caution fest, but this evening looking to be like one of those good racing moments, or just good races from Richmond, I guess you could say. But yes, I do have to agree with you. For the most part, Richmond, even in the real world, can seem very just caution-filled, and in the sim world it can be pretty much the same, because it is a pretty difficult short track to try to master or drive, especially the full race distance of a series, and it can most certainly be a handful.
So you see Tyler Myers looking to attack my apologies, Mark Berry for P5 Will and Chris. I say within the next 2 laps we'll do our crank it up segment of the night since we are halfway or over halfway. So we'll give everybody a little breather and listen to the awesome sound of these Xfinity cars and close-up actions on the track here. And on lap 157 then we'll go ahead and head to that crank it up section of the night.
What lap are we on now?
156.
156.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right, cool. Thank you.
Alright boys, we're going to head it up to mine and Will's favorite part of the night. Give Will a little breather and Chris. And we'll head to our crank it up section of the night. Hope you guys enjoy the sounds. Well, you got our wonderful sounds there. Like I said, so close, battles everywhere on the track. Too much to keep up for Will and Chris. So there's 3 of us. So we're trying our best to finesse through the field here, keep you guys up to date where all the action is out on the track. So Dave Barry now, P4. Philip Richmond, Will and Chris moved into P3.
O'Connor's got a pretty good lead over Mountain Ball and second with a just over 2-second lead. Bridgman right behind him. Couple of berries in fourth and fifth.
Yes, Chris, the brothers of the Berry, Dave Berry and Mark Berry.
The Berry brothers.
Yes, they're very consistent, Dave. So Jaden did get removed for the 2 caution rules, so he is out. Very unfortunate. Dominated the full race, and unfortunately, caused 2 cautions. Technically, yes, you're supposed to be removed from the race. So, very unfortunate for Jaden.
But rules are rules, Brian.
Yes, sir. Rules are rules. You gotta follow them. Unfortunately, some might like it, some won't. So we gotta follow them.
Take it as a chalk it up as a lesson learned to maybe drive a little more carefully into the corners, or heads up driving, I suppose.
Yep, lessons should be learned from that as well. I do agree. Chris, Brian, is that also a rule that is carried into the Cup Series as well, just not the lower tier series, but also in the BNR Cup Series?
Yeah, so that rule applies in all 3. We've had it done in all 3, but it's very hard when we a little slip up from Dave underneath Phil. So
I was just curious because
yes,
Chris asked me.
It's supposed to be all 3.
About Chris asked me about that whenever we were covering the Phoenix Cup race, I do believe, and I said, Chris, I'm not too sure. We'd have to check about that, but indeed there is a rule in place for that. So me and Chris at the time, we did not know. So now for future reference, Chris, we know.
Was that a relatively new rule, Brian? Because I feel like that wasn't a rule then.
That's always been a rule. So on Saturdays we ask for honesty. So if you wreck twice, we tell you, hey, I wrecked twice, I'm pulling down the pits. You know, we
Right,
and,
we understand what you're saying.
So we expect them to fess up to us, tell the truth and stuff like that.
Just was asking for clarification, and also, just like I said, Chris had kind of asked if there was some type of rule like that, and I wasn't 100% sure. So now that we know. Future references, like I said, noted down in the chalkboard.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yep.
But I try to make it as sweet as possible. Like, yes, just tell the honesty. It won't get you in trouble next race. So, if you're very iffy, then alright, then base it off your judgment. But if we go back and find out, then unfortunately you're going to pay the consequence, which is what we've been doing because, excuse me, I burped. That's very rude of me. But, yeah.
You're excused. At least you acknowledge yourself. Gilmore, as far as I can tell, Jeff Gilmore finally made it inside the top 10 after struggling the first portion of this race, first half of this race. Like I said, I've seen, me and you, Brian, we've seen Jeff Gilmore race at Richmond before, and I didn't expect him to be as far down the totem pole as he was. Half the time as he, was struggling, it seemed like there for a good bit. What a save by Mark Berry. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but man, he really had a save right there going into turn one, I do believe. So,
Gilmore is also the first car lap down, so if we do get another caution, that'll put him back on the lead lap and into some better contention to get further up the.
A very good point to make. It's always good to be in that position just in case, but also, you kind of want to be at the moment. There's only about 8.5 seconds from the leader, Jacob Carter, to Tyler Myers, the car in 7th place, last car on the lead lap. So Gilmore does have a real good buffer of the next car in danger of going a lap down. So, but he would most definitely want a caution quick and in a hurry to, like you alluded to, get back on the lead lap. Then Kevin Roy would be on the lead or would be in that position. So we could slowly start getting some more cars back on the lead lap. But as I thought would transpire and play out, besides the battle between Barry and Monty, Dave Barry getting back by the 20 machine, so I don't know what's harder for me to say, his car number or his name. So Carter out with a very comfortable lead. And it looks like early somewhat domination from Sanchez is now looking to be race domination by Carter. And if memory serves me right, Jacob has won here before in the past in the BNR Racing Series, so can't remember if he's also won here in Cup or just Xfinity. I'm pretty sure he's won here in Xfinity before. Trying to remember. So I know he's ran well here a lot. Yes.
I think Jacob's have a win in Cup.
Yeah, okay.
I do believe.
I was just saying, like a win here in general in the BNR, league. So what lap are you guys on?
187.
Alright, 187.
And I'm sorry, Jacob does not have a win in the Cup. My apologies.
I'm pretty sure he's got an Xfinity win here, I think.
Yes.
I think he does, so. And Mark Berry really loose on corner entry. That looks like what he is struggling with.
Carter everybody does not have a win in the Xfinity. Trucks he does.
Oh. My apologies.
No, sir, you are good. That is you did not know, so it's always good to keep you updated on the information. So I like to keep you updated, so at least you have it all, so then you know.
Right. This battle between Mark Berry and Philip Bridgman now. Good little tussle, and it looks like Philip getting the best of Mark at that time. Mark's going to fall into the clutches of Jim, it looks like. Jim Coleman'sberger with some good pace this evening. Always seems to run really decent at I almost said Martinsville there. Caught myself. Always seems to run pretty decent at Richmond. Anytime he shows up here, it seems like he's always got pretty decent pace. But as we alluded to before in the past, Jim Coleman'sberger, very long run capable driver. It seems like he just really is good for the most part. It seems in the long run, really comes alive in that driver type of driver preference or just that driving style that Jim has. There we go. Finally figured out what I wanted to say properly. Kinsey way up the track a few laps ago, so everybody trying. Wow, Phillip, real big moment.
Oh yeah.
A few laps back, like I said, so it was the same lap where McKenzie got up out of the groove. So Mark Berry got back by Phillip, I do believe.
Jim
Phillip got back by Mark.
Reeling them in.
Oh yeah.
So I'd like to see what Jim can do here. As you see there, want the ball, has hit the wall in front of Phil, so.
Yeah, Matthew in that 20, or Matt, my apologies, in the 20. Just that long run pace doesn't seem to be there. He's got really good short to medium run pace in that car, but long run just doesn't seem.
We've got a caution.
No.
Joe Stipe has lost it on track, Will.
Yeah, looks like the back end just come out of Joe Stipe's car.
Oh yeah. So we watch here.
He was already loose there, corner entry, and then getting back to the throttle, corner exit, real big nose plant in the center of the back straightaway.
Kind of hot out, just kind of came out on him like that.
Well, just possibly just getting back to the throttle when the car just never could get planted. You see, corner entry just really loose, couldn't get the car to bite, and corner exit just having the same problem. Just seems maybe just getting back into the throttle.
I think actually he may have just pitted and was on cold tires.
Oh wow, yeah, good point there as well. Not getting the tire up to temp, not being able to get the tire up to temp, excuse me, and going into the corner here with a fresh set of tires will do that to you on corner exit and corner entry. Just it's very
exactly
slippery.
It, well, he had pitted a handful of laps before that.
Man, very unfortunate for Joe. Like he said, had just pitted.
Lap 187 he had hit pit road.
So the struggles that these competitors are dealing with this evening, basically cold tires, trying to bring them up to temperature the best smooth way as possible. Unfortunately, some drivers just missed that mark just ever so slightly. Others able to still have it under control, but I can imagine it might just feel like driving through snow or on ice for the most part, trying to get those tires up to temp. Very, very slick, more than likely, feeling.
Alright boys, this is going to be interesting. 50 laps to go. Who's going to do it? So you see all these lap cars here in front of Jacob.
Within the pit window, shouldn't have to worry about fuel, but tire Definitely got to worry about that tire. Back to like what we harpened on earlier in the show. Tire management going to be key in this final, what we suspect to be the final run of the race. Everybody should, for the most part, still have a set of tires left in the pits. So you kind of almost expect them to, if there was to be another caution, kind of see that play out. Maybe you would see drivers come in to get that fresh set, perhaps, or maybe, this is the bed and we got to lay in it, perhaps, for the other drivers as well. So getting back ready to
go. So it's going to be interesting. See how this shakes up.
Getting ready, though, like you said, as we deal with this third caution of the evening, getting ready to go back green. Looks like lights are out on the pace car, so we will get that this lap. So about 48, 47 lap shootout here, unless we do see a caution. So we also got 8 cars back on the lead lap. Jeff Gilmore, like we mentioned, was the car to get the lucky dog. So now we only have 1 car 1 lap down, and that would be Kevin Roy. So everybody else is either 2 or more laps down. Coming to the restart zone, Jacob gets a whole shot restart. Let's see how everybody can fare on this restart. They, for the most part, been calm, that we have had them. Even the initial start of the race, I would say, was pretty fairly calm. Did I see 3 wide, though, going into 3? So let's hope that worked out for all of them involved. It seems like it has. Don't see caution lights, so
That was a bounce off a wall there. But as you see here, guys, Tyler Meyer is P5 at the moment, reeling in as we're on board with him. Getting close to Jim Coleman's regular. Great run by Jim and Phil. 3rd and 4th at the moment here, boys. So I'm interested to see how this last couple of laps shake out. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see in these upcoming laps here. Very long race for these boys. So
yes, Brian, still 40 some odd laps left, so still good quarter of the distance remaining. Doesn't seem, if we do see some more cautions, that is, I don't think, as long as Carter keeps nailing these restarts like he has been, seems like he's able to get enough of a buffer, pull away. Montague had a good slippery moment a couple of laps into the restart, that's for sure. So,
and Montalban just slammed the wall. I think he's about to lose that spot to Barry. At least being challenged for it.
So these restarts really not being kind to the Pony Machine. He was having a good top 5 run, and just seems like maybe restarts or cold tires not suiting the 20 driver, perhaps. One of the two. seems like once he does get the tires up to temp, he can get into a groove. It seems like he does have the pace, but Chris, sometimes when you do have caution, that can take you out of the groove of things and really make you have to do a reset pretty much. And that was a good impact for the 20. I saw it there. He had a good nice time trying to recover that car.
Yeah, I agree, Will. Anytime I've been in a car, if I get into a rhythm and then the caution comes out, totally breaks the rhythm, and then takes me a minute to get back to it. So I might fall back right in the initial restart.
And Richmond is such a track about having rhythm, keeping momentum, and once you break it, it can be such a hard task to get back into it, just like racing at Martinsville pretty much. That is such a momentum and flow based track that if you break your rhythm there, it can take 4 or 5 laps just to recover. And Richmond very similar to that. Bristol is another place. Really, any short track or any track in particular, it doesn't have to be a short track or an oval. It can be a road course because all your corners add up to the overall lap time of which you were trying to set. You're trying to be quick at any track regardless, and if you overdrive or mess up one corner of a track, that's just going to mess the whole lap up and maybe just laps thereafter. And you got to get refocused.
A lap change there. Jim Koppelsberger now moves up to P3, Will. So that's going to be interesting to see what Jim can do hanging out there in that P3 spot. Will and Chris, he might have something before it goes 2 in front, but we'll just have to wait for the closing laps here.
Yeah, as you say, Jim moving into that P3 final step on the podium position. And cards just fell, or all the flags, I guess you could say. This is not a card game. But for the most part, everything fell the way it should for Jim to be in this position, more or less. Running in a real good, solid stand-up third position. Not sure if Barry might have some good fall-off here or bad fall-off to where he will get ran down by Jim. So, like we alluded to earlier, Jim is one of those drivers that really good over the course of a long run. Not sure if this, might as well say 45-lap run to the finish here. If we do get that, will be good enough for him to do anything with Barry or not. It looks like Barry actually could be slipping a little bit back towards Jim, so might, like you say, just might have to wait and see. Also, good battle, or good little groups of battling throughout the pack that basically you would think are on the same lap, but they're not, just of how close they're battling with one another. But as far as the Campbell and Coking battle, Campbell's sitting in 10th and Randy Coking is in 12th, but they are 1 lap apart from one another. Lomax is actually the one closest to Campbell as far as scoring goes. So Coking, Small, Berger, and Stipe, all those drivers are 3 laps down, so those guys kind of battling amongst themselves on the same lap. Just give everybody a comparison here of what we're kind of showing as well. Really, for the most part, at a short track, it can be a tall task or a tall order just to get 1 lap back, but man, once you go 2 or 3 or 4 laps down, your race, as far as for contention of a good finishing position, might be over at that point. Oh, Aaron Bradford really just wanting to hang on to that wall for dear life. once he got into it. Real good drive in a way to keep it up on the wall once he got there, but also trying to keep it there, not to hinder or cause a caution. But Richmond can be a tough track, very difficult.
Well, 25 laps to go here tonight. We closed in on that 25 mark. Anything could happen. I do believe all the pit stops are done for the night. Now it's who's got the tires to get to the end.
Yes, we wouldn't expect anyone to pit for fuel, nor really tires. But like I suspect, I kind of do suspect the drivers having, for the most part, one set of tire left remaining in their pit stall. So possibility, if something was to occur, of them coming down and getting a fresh set of tires could be kind of, high, could be out there. You could see, if you don't see the leader come in, you have a good chance of seeing, someone like, Myers or Mark Barry, maybe either the 20 or the 75 at Gilmore may choose to come down and get a fresh set of tires if we do see a late race caution, but
yeah, maybe if we got a late race caution like you're talking about, I'd see absolutely no reason for Gilmore to not take tires.
Right.
It's 23 laps to go, wind down, getting close to the 20 to go point.
Even though drivers, say for instance, McKenzie or Bradford, even, J.D. O'Brien, they may be struggling at this track. I just kind of point those guys out because, they kind of have either been off the pace or just in the wall the most that we've been able to see. So, yes, they might be struggling here, but they're still logging laps. They're still learning. Just in case, they was to ever come back here again or later on in the schedule, they might come back here again. So, just getting lap time and learning the track a bit more is always better. Hopefully that can increase your pace next time you come here.
I agree with you, Will. More track time is better than none. To go out, learn, and capitalize on your mistakes that you made, and look, and the next time they come back or in the near future, you can recapitalize on that. So I agree with everything you said about this track. So 19 to go, coming to 18 laps to go. We're closing it down to 10 to go, Will. Things could start getting a little spicy here in the next couple of laps. So we'll just have to sit back, wait, and find out.
Jim Coleman'sberger doesn't seem like he was able to get up to David Berry and get to Dave, do anything to Dave. So kind of about 2.5, 3 second gap between Berry and Coleman'sberger there, P2 and 3. Don't know if Myers is going to be able to run back down Coleman'sberger or not. But Jacob Carter, pretty good, dominant performance after having to start. I don't know if he had a penalty or if he chose to start back there. Leaning more towards just having to want to start back there in the rear of the field. Worked his way up through the field. Different things felt great to take the lead of the race, and he's taken the lead of the race, not looked back since.
So Joe Stipe, Larry McKenzie. Rough night for those boys. Very unfortunate, but more bad better than none.
Max going another lap down after having what seemed to be good early pace in the car, and then really plateaued down the hill after that. Not sure if it was contact between him and Joe or not, but
Myers and Barry swapping positions now. Barry getting by Myers for that 4th place position.
Alright, so Mark Barry, he has really came alive in this portion of the race, this final 45 laps, pretty much. And getting up by Tyler Myers, like you say, that'll drop Myers down into the 5th position, Mark Barry up to 4th. So, could we see the Barry brothers on the podium if he can eat 2 seconds away from the gap from him to Coleman'sberger? But I think Jim might have 3rd place in the bag.
Well, he's closing in.
10
Sorry.
to go.
I was just about to say, and there's your caution.
Oh no! There it is, fellas. Oh no. Take a look here. It's like Montalban ended up getting up into the 2 car of J.D. O'Brien.
Yeah, it's wrong place, wrong time. O'Brien was already up.
Yeah, he's just been hanging around all night, just trying to log some laps, trying to stay out of the way, and unfortunately coming out of the corner at the wrong time. Well,
that's the trouble you may find yourself in. Oh, I think maybe Kevin Roy. Was that Kevin Roy? Yes, it was.
End up in it.
Yeah, that was Kevin Roy. Kevin Roy,
Unfortunate. He was going to be the next car to get the lucky dog, but that's going to take that away from him now.
JD very committed to that outer lane or that high lane there, and the car just got really tight on him. Floated up the track on corner exit into the wall. He was kind of going to go there regardless. It looked like the car was going, the trajectory, and everybody behind him just, for the most part, wrong place, wrong time. Nobody's fault, but just chalk that one down, I suppose, racing incident. Yeah, it's gotten to the part of the day to where it's just uncontrollably yawning. My apologies, so just going to have to deal with that. So maybe Chris Campbell here in the 68 might be the one to get the lap back or the recipient of the lucky dog instead of Kevin, so might put 9 cars on the lead lap.
Oof.
And it may
So Mark Barry stayed out, boys.
Well, don't know if Mark actually had an extra set of tires or not. I don't know if he would have after having being involved in a slide earlier, so he might have already had all the tires he had given for this race. allocated. I was going to say that, but at the time it did not want to say out. So, all good.
Well, as we come to the choose cone here, who chooses
Yeah,
what?
not a green, white, checkered at the moment, but one would assume that the next caution would be a green, white, checkered. So, Mark Berry's going to have those really old tires on the inside, even though he is the race leader, the control car in the restart zone. Can he get a good jump on Jacob Carter and Jim Coleman'sberger? Basically the rest of the field here. So they fall into the restart zone. Barney the flagman waves the green flag back again this evening. Seem to get a good start,
big checkout,
a restart on those old tires. Indeed, trying to navigate or find a way around Barry.
Oh, they got one going around. That is the 5 of Randy Koking.
So for sure, going to be first green, white, checkered attempt here after possible. Oh yes, indeed. 20 of Matt Monty. We're just going to keep. Well, I'm just going to keep saying Monty. Just getting in there and almost 3 wide for the most part, just about 3 wide. So I guess he was also trying to give the 28 of Josh Small enough breathing room, but also he did have the corner. He could have not, given Josh that extra room he needed. Maybe that could not have happened, but similar incident of what we saw happen earlier with the 8 of Jaden. So maybe Matt was just trying to make up some quick ground that he had lost and maybe work his way through the field, but unfortunately things just didn't go his way at that time. So, 5th caution of this evening. Jacob Carter, Dave Barry, Jim Coleman'sberger, Mark Barry, Jeff Gilmore. That's the top 5. Philip Bridgman,
Myers. To see how this is going to shake out. This would be the first attempt at a GWC, so we'll see.
Yes, first attempt. Do have 3 attempts here, so. Oh my goodness.
Well, we'll see who chooses what side again. I do believe Jim's going to take the bottom, I do believe. Or Carter could probably take the bottom. Or Jim can go to the top. I don't know. We'll have to see here. There you go. Carter to the bottom, Jim to the bottom. Barry to the bottom. Oof. Interesting to see how this is going to go.
Dave Barry went to the top, and Mike on the bottom, looks like, so. All about timing. Who can time the leader's restart to perfection? Stick with Jacob here on the restart.
As this restart gets waved off, for some odd reason, they probably don't like what they see. So.
Probably to get the lap down colors. I believe everybody fully caught up on the grid on the restart. It looks like everybody in formation, so there's no stragglers, basically a half a track or so. I noticed a couple of restarts they did already. There was I don't want to say confusion, but a whole lot of separation going on. So they got everything in line and order for the most part, it seems. Didn't take too long to figure it out. It looks or speculated. Restart. Back in the air. Jacob Carter drops the house back. So can everybody keep it clean, keep it straight for the final couple of laps here as they all barrel back into 3 and 4. Penultimate time, you would have to think this time by. Yes, indeed, white flag waving in the air. Can Jeff Gilmore get on to the final step of the podium, really putting the pressure to Jim Coleman'sberger in the number 11 car. Jacob Carter going to round through 3 and 4 for the final time. Coming off the corner, and he wins tonight. Oh, and there's a parking lot.
There's a big pile up on the back.
Yes, looks like turn 3 and 4 here. So Carter, Barry, Coleman'sberger, that's the top 3, but chaos ensued behind them as not sure what happened. Have to getting a look back here. Looks like something happened up in front, Brian.
It started with Gilmore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Gilmore shut the door on Bridgman going into 3, and that's what started this whole, oh no, Gilmore got loose coming out of turn 2, and just lost it, and man, one of those old-fashioned Richmond parking lots that we have seen, especially in the real world in the past. You kind of lose the car, or you can get turned coming out of turn 2 and clogs up the entire track. That's what happened there on the final lap. Very unfortunate for those involved, as everybody still was trying to finish the race. But dominant performance by Jacob Carter. Like I said, once he got into the lead, it was hard to run him back down or put up a fight for it. Just had a real good car. He showed it working his way up through the field. Excellent burnout by Jake, just burning it down, celebrating that win here this evening. As we see the race results, Jacob Carter.
Alright, fellas, that's going to do it for me. It's always a pleasure to join you guys
Hey,
here.
it's always an honor. Sorry, I was caught up on an important phone call throughout the night with family. I was trying to chime in here and there, but what a very long race. Chris, Will, I thank you guys again for picking up for my slack. That was a very long night for these boys. Overall, I thought it was a very great race. So that's that. So what do we? I guess channel talk, move him. Hell, I guess we'll talk to Jim first. Jim Bob. Probably got.
Yeah.
He's probably got to use. He's probably got to use the old restroom, don't you?
I did. Oh my God, did I have.
That was a very long race. You guys started off very well. I just told I told Austin, like, listen, I didn't realize how many laps I set it for. Technically, it was only supposed to be 125 is what it was supposed to be. So.
I made it interesting. No biggie. No harm, no foul.
Hey, but on the podium, sir.
Yeah. I probably could have full sent it like some of them did at the end there, but I chose
saw
not
that to behind you. It was like a parking garage behind you on that last lap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Phil, poor Phil. Anyway,
but me and the Berries and Jacob and even Tyler, we all raced each other pretty cool. And Philip was in there too in the mix, and then I don't know what happened to him. He fell off pretty after that last couple pit stops. I forget what it was.
Yeah. Well, he was there. He was right there with you, but Gilmore got loose, came sideways, took Philip with him, and that unfortunately is what did it for Phil.
Yeah, I didn't like that last. I don't know what happened when that last caution. I think Gilmore said apologize to Kevin. I'm not sure, but I wish that didn't happen because I knew what was going to happen. Everybody was going to go full send.
Yeah. Well, you were, as I was watching the time, you were getting a tenth faster each lap. So I didn't know if you had the long run pace because it looks like you were closing in that lap very quick. So.
Yeah, I saved. I kept saying I was saving, and I don't know. I probably could have been more aggressive, but that's not how you gain friends around here. You know, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway, it was a fun race, long one, but fun.
Mm-hmm. I try to torment you guys every now and then.
I hear you.
Hey,
you gotta tell our drunken race control guy, man. He's gotta get that sucker in the middle of the track. He got offended when I told him that.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, it kept creeping up closer to the wall.
I was watching. I'm like, you got to get down a little bit more. But overall, I think race was pretty much well. I like the long flag runs you had, that's for sure. But anyway, you're here, P3. You survived the carnage at the end. Why don't you give an overall of how the car handled throughout the first 80 laps? I do believe you guys had before your first caution. And then midway through that, if the track temp changed at all, and in different conditions coming through the back of the pack up towards the front.
Yeah. First run was good. You had to definitely eggshell it, around the track when you're coming off. And then it seemed odd. It got tight and then went loose and back to tight. And then after that, it got really pushy, in my opinion. I felt I had a, early break and let her coast through the corner before I got on. And I noticed, how I made passes when I did is people just overdrove the turn because the car got so pushy. And I was surprised we didn't have more cautions because a lot of times that one car would get hung up on the outside, almost like a complete standstill. And then if, that's your line, you got to bring it up to the wall. And then someone would have to cut hard left to avoid that slower car. And it would Phil one time, he made a heck of a save. I mean, he was down, up. But, I didn't force the issue on him either, which probably I hope helped him. Because it was too early. I mean, we had a lot of laps.
Exactly. But with the offset plays a big factor too. A lot of these guys, they just go in and just, all right, well, let me put Richmond in. Boom. All right, I'm going. I don't care about the offset. And
honestly, I didn't change anything but the brake bias. I think I might have went to 60.
Yeah.
That I didn't change the offset or nothing.
Yeah. That helps too. More brake bias in will help you keep you stability in the long run. I noticed that in practice because you know me, I'd always put mine at like, like 51 to 50. So, which gets that rear end snapping loose. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think
so
made that long run we had. I think if I would have played with the brake bias, it would I would have been better off.
yeah, but
But I left it alone because I didn't want to have to sit there and keep remembering stuff to do. You know what I mean? It's hard enough I could remember to even take my
exactly.
tires, but because I actually I didn't when I got I don't know. I guess you want to call it spun or almost spun.
That was close. That was very close.
I left my fast repair on, and I didn't want to do that, but you know, it happens.
And then you played cautious from here on out, and hey, it worked. I mean, sometimes that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I think Jaden got a little impatient there.
He did. That's why unfortunately he was out after those two incidents. So as we talk race control tonight, two spins or more like that. Adios muchachos. So that's how we handled it, and that was what we were talking up here in the tower. But anyway, sir, if you're here next week, Thursday, we head to another short track, the wonderful world of Martinsville.
I love Martinsville.
Yeah, I know you do.
I really do. I love that track. But you know, we'll see.
Mhm.
I should be good with being here. Thursdays is usually my night of racing, unless something comes up family wise.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, I'm hoping to be there. I love that track. I just hope people show patience for that track,
I
and
hope it.
we don't go yellows. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I was worried about tonight. I thought, you know, after the weeks we've been having, I was praying, and you know, nobody wanted Coney to come out in the beginning, and then he finally came out.
Yeah. Well, it was very well. Hopefully, you guys can start off Martinsville like you guys did tonight. A nice long 70 to 80 lap run, which is wonderful. That's always a good improvement from here on out. So hopefully, you guys can do it all the way to the end next week. That'll be great and wonderful. Will, I don't know if you're still here, but you got anything for old Jim?
Just congratulations on the run tonight, Jim. Hopefully you have just as good luck next week at Martinsville.
Yes, sir. And thanks, guys, for putting on the show. And we'll see you maybe Saturday night too. Who knows?
Awesome.
Yes, sir. All right, sir. Congratulations again, P3. Dominant performance by old Mr. Coleman. So, we'll chat in a bit.
All right. Peace out, brothers.
Later. Dave Barry. Mr. Barry.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
All right. Well, go ahead, Will. I'll let you take this one.
Well, Mr. Dave, good to see you this evening. And also, congratulations on that P2 finish. Hard fought for the most part, trying to, there in that one stint of the race, or that one portion of the race, you and Matt in the 20 car had a good tussle going for it. Also, just kind of seemed like you were that second or third place car for the most part this evening. Never could stick with the race leader, whether it be Jaden or Jacob this evening. You could stay with them there for a good portion after the restart, but man, they just started driving away from you. What more did you need to kind of stay with them, Dave?
Well, I just couldn't find the right line. I just kept burning my tires up. So definitely Jaden was, just gone. And then once Jacob caught me, I knew that he was much faster. Wasn't no sense in holding him up. So I just kind of had the mindset, ride and try to stay in the top three and just run a clean race. And that's basically what I did for the entire race, because I just knew that. But I didn't know it was going to get real hairy at the end. I mean, that was pretty good driving by Jim and Jacob at the end, and Mark on new tires, or I should say old tires. So I just needed to find a little better line.
Well, next week, Dave, will be Martinsville, so back-to-back road course, or road course, short track. Excuse me, Dave. Dave, but kind of the same strategy in a sense going into Martinsville as you kind of would with Richmond. You would think, or what are you looking forward to, or maybe might be struggling with at Martinsville?
Actually, it's just like Richmond, in my opinion. It's a rhythm track. If you once you just get into a nice rhythm, just don't burn the tires up. Don't push the car too hard, and just hit your braking points and let the car roll real good, and hopefully get another top 5. That's what I shoot for every week, and who knows what's going to happen though. But I'm looking forward to it.
Right on. I agree with that. Having, selective goals each race, and top 5, man, always a good goal to strive for. Like I said, congratulations on this good run this evening. Always there. It seemed like it, like you said, if you could match that pace or be there with the race leader, just unfortunately couldn't sustain it. And like you said, moving in next week, kind of same game plan, same type of strategy, like you said, rhythm based track, like you alluded to. So, any final thoughts or shout outs you'd love to give there, Dave?
I'd like to congratulate Jacob on the win. It's a nice, solid run. Jim, Mark, Jeff, all those guys there at the end, just running clean on those restarts. It was just absolutely fun. So, just congratulations to everybody. It was a good race, and I can't wait to race with them again next week.
Well, thanks for talking to us, and like I said, congratulations again on that P2 finish.
Thank you, and I'd like to also shout out BNR and all the broadcasts. You guys do a great job, and hopefully I'm on here with you next week.
Well,
thank you a lot, Dave.
We appreciate it. We try our darn best to provide you guys the best entertainment. That mean Will can, and sometimes every now and then Chris. Anyway, your personal thoughts on Coney. How'd you think Coney did?
All in all, I thought it was okay. I mean, we knew about it going in, so everybody was warning everybody when it was 2 to go. So just everybody keeping everybody's their heads up and everything, and hey, let's be sure we do this right. So it didn't bother me at all. I liked it.
Yeah, I guess it has a little bit more freedom to choose which lane you want to be instead of being in the same lane every time. So we try to switch it up. We trying to get everybody's thoughts on it. So, but anyway, sir, P2, awesome job, and I'll get you back up there, and we'll chit chat in a bit.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Last but not least, Mr. Carter. Well, if it wasn't Carter, it was Sanchez.
What's up?
What's up? That race was too long for you, wasn't it?
Nah, I actually loved it.
That's an actual full race, I do believe, Will.
Yes, indeed. Jacob, just excellent run for you this evening. Dominant performance once you did eventually find yourself in the lead of this race out in that clean air. You just decided not to qualify to have that extra work to do to work yourself up through the field, and just tell us about doing that, and also walk us through your race, and just tell us how you got here, Jacob.
Yeah, first of all, I'm finally an Xfinity race winner, finally. After a while, the car came in, it felt great, started running down people. I usually start in the back to kind of stay off of everybody, and I don't know, the car felt great. Car felt great for a couple laps, and then once the sun started going down, it started getting slicker. So, it was kind of like a mixed emotions race. Everybody was tired, everybody was mad, everybody was something. We did one green lap pit, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes. I went in with Jaden because if I could get the advantage to get up to him, I was going to. And then once we came out, the yellow flag came out. I was like, well, that's ironic. And then Jaden got into some trouble, so we won't discuss it. All in all, it was a great race. Everybody was being clean, conservative. I didn't have to use my quick fit, so that's kind of what I said last week. Keep my nose clean, run down whoever I can run down, and win a race. And I think I accomplished that this week.
Yes, accomplishment. Really, really well. Good, good big check mark in that box for sure. After a good performance this evening, dominant performance, I would have to say, just overall congratulations with that. It can be fairly hard or tricky at times to have that type of feat, have a good enough handling car, or just a track that really suits your driving style, and just be able to do that this evening like you did. How? Let me see. What were your thoughts overall, Jacob? Were you expecting maybe a few more cautions, or you thought the race played out pretty well? What were your thoughts on the race overall?
I was hoping no more cautions because I'm kind of like a Martin Truex person. I'm better on long runs, and short runs are kind of iffy. So once the car started doing great on the long runs, I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. But everybody kept on slipping up and doing some cautions, and I was afraid because you got David. David's no slouch, and you also got Jim, which I was surprised he was even with us. But you had them guys running with us, and I was just afraid if I went in and got tires. Was David more faster? Was Jim faster? Was Mark? And so it was kind of like I don't want to do this kind of deal. So I would rather it played out good and us be green all the time, but accidents happen, so there's nothing I could do about it.
Right on. What was your thoughts and everything with the choose cone rule that was taking place this evening as well?
I kind of like it. It was. We had a little drunk Kyle up on the track. He always he was favoring the high side, and we called him out on it. It was like, well, I'll get better next time. Next time it was even higher, and I was like, dang, Kyle, you're gonna have to stop drinking for a minute.
All right. Well, that's some interesting news that Race Control has a nice party every night. So
no, the cone had a little fun night. Just calm down.
No, just I'd like to be in that room with Kyle, share a drink with Kyle. Anywho, yeah, exactly. That's that's what I'm saying. Anywho, big congratulations tonight on getting this win here this evening at Richmond, Jacob. Any final thoughts or some shout outs there?
Just the sponsors I got on my car, my kids for being patient for letting me do this, and I also have a little thought out right there. Apologize to Josh Smalls, which I'll talk to him later. Apparently I pinched him into the wall, but I think he was talking to other guys. Like I said, once you got beside someone, it was pretty tight, so I had to let off, and so I didn't have to hit him. So I guess he thought I pinched him, but he was already in the wall when I went past him. But all in all, just appreciate y'all coming out here, broadcasting everything we do.
Well, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us after this win, so thank you about that as well.
Alrighty.
Well, you got another round of it Saturday, so we'll see how well that goes. But like I said, I agree with Will. Awesome job on the win. Go celebrate, go burn it down some more, and we'll talk to you later.
Wait. Before we do this, I'm gonna have to be the commentator because y'all missed something. What is my plans for next week's race? Like, what's next after this?
Martinsville.
Martinsville. Ooh, I love me some short track racing. Try not to get dumped. That is gonna be my strategy.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. Well, you stepped in. You answered your own question. There you go.
That's
I
right.
totally forgot about that. I did.
I had
We try to
to
spread it out.
commentate for a second.
That's right. Well, anyway, sir, continue to burn the rubbers down. Do what Martin did. Blow the right rear tire off the car and try to limp it back to victory lane. So.
I blew the motor. It's in victory lane, so whatever.
Oh, all right. There you go. All right, sir. We'll get you back up there.
Thank you.
Yep. Anywho, Will did a lot of talking tonight, so I'll close out. I don't want to. Will end up losing his voice. But anyway, myself, Brian Hunt, and Will Roberts would like to thank y'all for coming out tonight to the BNR Xfinity Series on the BNR Racing Network. Saturday night, you can catch Will Roberts and Chris on 1-5 Studios broadcasting on YouTube. Go make sure you chit chat with them up and give them a like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you do to help Will and Chris out for Saturday nights as we head back here. Next Tuesday, me and Will are back in the booth. We head to Martinsville on Tuesday, and then Thursday and next week we're back on Martinsville too. So from myself, from Will, we thank you guys for coming out. Like to